Hello and welcome back to another episode of the FNtasia podcast. We are here with episode 19 for you. We got the boys, Harry, the big dog, Reese Hub in the building. Let's talk Fortnite, boys. Let's do it.
Let's
I'm
talk
okay
it.
with that. I feel like
before we talk Fortnite,
yeah.
before we talk Fortnite, sorry, I'm going to cut you off here. Before we talk Fortnite, how are you, my friends? You guys good? I feel like I don't ask you guys that anymore on the show.
Doing good. It's been a while since
Yeah.
I've been on. Probably like a couple of weeks. Been slacking a little bit. Got scared of all the backlash or whatever. So now we're back. Now we're into global season, into the new season. I gotta get back with my takes.
You were like peak hating Fortnite so much at the end of last season that you're like, I can't even bear 2 to 3 hours talking about it once a week. Now that it's a new season, conveniently you're back. I see how it is.
Yeah, of course.
Outside of the Harry hate watching, I am also here. Hello, doing good. How are you, Levin? How are you doing?
I'm really good. I'm excited. I got the United jersey on, of course, because, we started off the season well. Vibes are good. Global's approaching, So I'm in a great mood. Fortnite's great right now, and I hope it stays that way forever. Shout out to Reese as well and all the commenters who shared in your excitement about your Pokemon riffraff.
Yes.
I'm not locked in, so I
got shiny ground on me.
You actually sounded like the parrot who's like your Pokemon riffraff, whatever you're doing.
You're supportive. Yeah. I love it, but he's not locked into what we're doing,
Not at all. But the audio and the visual listeners clearly are. So hopefully you find more Pokemons.
We are indeed shiny hunting as this goes on. Well, if for all of the listeners who are watching on camera listeners, you know what I mean. All the viewers, the people who are watching on YouTube, you'll see me look down. I'm hunting as we talk here, right? I'm locked in.
Brilliant. Well, all right. Let's get into. Actually, no. Okay, one last thing.
I got the last.
Yeah. Okay. No. One
last podcast. No one's said about it or anything. The mustache resub.
Yeah.
Why?
So, I'm full beefing right here. I'm full beefing. Last podcast, I came here looking, I must say, rather handsome, right? Yeah. Thank you. Look at that quartz. Look at that. Right. And I was like, I rock up. Fresh mustache, face clean. Come up here. Not one word, not a single word from any of these people. Not even like that's a bit weird what you're doing there. Not even a negative. No one noticed for the whole podcast that I had a mustache.
That's worse.
I was like, you guys actually broke my heart. And now I'm back. You asked the question. You're like, why? I think the obvious answer is have you looked at the analytics? Like a predominantly just male only viewership, so I'm trying to bring in some female viewership by
this is your tactic to bring the ladies in.
That's trying to get some more female viewers to the podcast here. Let me know how it works out, Levin. I know you've got access to all the stats, so
I'll check. I'll check last ep to see if anything changed. It's funny because I after the pod I spoke to Harry. And he was like, what? The first thing he said was, what was going on with Reese? Why didn't none of you talk about it? And I did say to her, I was like, no, I noticed it, but I just didn't really want to say anything. I was just like, should I bring this up? I don't know, maybe he's going through something. I don't know what's
going through
all the connotations are negative here.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I just didn't want to.
There's no positive reinforcement outside of. There's positive reinforcement in the Pokemon world here. I appreciate that. We're countering it with the crap face. Yeah. So I sent it to my brother. I sent a picture to him because he looks like me but a bit older and uglier. So I sent a picture to him and I was like, "What do you think?" And he basically was just like, "Just cut that off, please." He made it. He was like, "Is it strong like ox?" And I said, "It's clearly." It's like if the answer is no, just cut it off. I was like, I don't even know what you're trying to go for. But he was not for it. My mother also, I must say, not approval. But Bella likes it. And I was like, you know what? I'll take it. It's better than what I had going before. So that's pretty much the answer. It's better than what I had going before. We'll see how long the phase lasts.
Well, welcome back from the 70s.
Thank you.
New Fortnite season's out.
Oh, hold on. No, we're not getting on to Fortnite quite yet. Harry also has a mustache, which is shit, right?
It's because that's laziness. That's pure laziness. That's not me wanting to. I can't grow one. This is about as good as it gets. Maybe give it a few more months, it'll look a bit more homeless. But no, this is all I got. This is as good as it gets.
I know. I'm not gonna go out. Hold on, wait.
Barely see it.
Yeah, just zoom in a bit more. It's there, I promise. Look, it's a little bit there, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, no, you know, fair enough, guys. Jeez.
That's 1 week of growth.
We need a
right
Manscaped sponsor. That's what we need.
Oh yeah.
We need a Manscaped sponsor. All right. Well, now the Fortnite. You got 6 minutes of our lives, and now Fortnite. New season of Fortnite's out. Chapter 5, Season 4 is here, and the world is destabilizing. Fortnite is back. We have never been so back than now, and yeah, I'm very happy about it. Everyone's very happy about it. There's things to not be happy about, but such as the FNtasia podcast goes, we're just gonna give you the good, bad, and ugly of Chapter 5, Season 4, because that's like the lowest effort format, and everyone likes it, so we're gonna stick with it. Let's start off with the goods. What does everyone like about Chapter 5, Season 4 so far?
I forgot what I wrote, so let me reopen the notes. To be honest with you, like this isn't like if you asked me this last season, I would be like, the goods. Well, the game's running. But now I need to look back through what we had going here because there's a specific thing I wanted to mention, and I think the first thing is just the main thing for me playing a lot. I mean, a lot this season is just the fighting meta so far. Obviously, there's a lot of kind of stupid stuff for tournaments, which I think we can talk about. But like ranked is fun right now. I think me and DJ probably played 9 hours of ranked yesterday. I'm not even joking. We just we just started playing, and then you just kept going. I was like, oh my god. And I think that's the general sentiment so far. Season is hella fun. I think like if you want to break down the shotguns, the ARs, and all those kind of things, it's like there's no weapon outside of the arsenal that we're seeing that's like super busted in terms of fighting. Hoverjets are kind of crazy for fighting, but like it's high skill ceiling. The weapons are good. There's nothing that's like running in your face and you're just dying every single time too. No one's nitro in my box every game. It feels like Fortnite. I feel like I'm a Fortnite meta right here. So it's extremely rewarding. I'm definitely going the fighting meta feels great. I think that's my definite good.
I agree. To add on to what you said quickly there, one thing that's really cool, I think, about the loot pool of this season, and I know, Harry, your good was linked to loot pool stuff as well, and we'll get to that. Yeah. That's just something I'm forgetting right now. There's like nothing that you wouldn't really use. Like everything is like usable. Like you would like pick up like most weapons. Like I saw every season of Fortnite, there's always like a couple weapons where you're like, oh, you're just never picking it up. You're never using it. It's crap. This season, I feel like everything other than the TAC AR, or was it the Assault AR? I forgot the name. Combat AR? Is it that one? I feel like everything other than, but maybe I'm the only person that doesn't like that. But I feel like everything other than that weapon is just like you would pick up and like run around with and use.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think the biggest thing for the fighting meta to me is just no nitros. No nitros, no fists, no nothing that just gets in your box. It feels like you can actually defensively box fight. It doesn't feel like now you literally get hit for 50 and then, well, your fight's pretty much over. You just get nitroed in your box and you're griefed, right? It actually feels like there's skill to it. It's not like whoever gets the advantage just has whoever gets the damage advantage just has such an advantage for the rest of the fight that doesn't really matter. It feels like you can actually make a lot of plays which can counter that, and it increases the skill when you do this sort of stuff, which obviously makes it way more enjoyable to play than just getting run through constantly.
Is the way we should have actually set up the hype for the season is Fortnite is back because all the silly stuff from last season is just gone now. You know, we lost the nitros, we lost the fizz, the OP cars are gone. Even when you're looking deeper in like the comp meta, right? Like the infinitely respawning cacti is gone, the nitro rings, the nitro boost effect as a whole is just like all that stuff is just gone, which has just made this season in turn more fun to play for ranked specifically, like you highlighted, Reese, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing maybe I disagree with, maybe I would, I don't know how much I disagree here, but like in terms of the fighting meta, right? It is really fun to fight. You mentioned there when you're talking about the fighting meta how it feels like Fortnite, which in many ways it does, but in many ways it also doesn't with some of the items we have to fight with this season that are actually viable and good, right? Like I've experienced it and I've seen clips of it, like the Captain America shields, the War Machine stuff. That stuff feels very natural to fight with. Like it's not like as much as it's gimmicky, like you can actually use that stuff and it's like viable in fights, at least in ranked, right? We're not talking about like top level comp right now. and that stuff feels mad cheesy. But I'm at the point now where that still feels like Fortnite, even though it's cheesy. It's like, like this is Fortnite. So maybe I would disagree.
It's like,
but...
so the way I think about that is look at those items. They're very Fortnite-y items. Okay, well, you know, they need a little bit of rebalancing, in particular if you've seen the Captain America Shield and Zero build. That thing is just absolutely broken.
Yeah.
But you know, they need a little bit of rebalancing, absolutely. But like, they're still Fortnite-y items. You know, Nitro and Nitro Fists last season just felt like they were not Fortnite items. They were far too like way too powerful. Whereas now it's like, you know, if I take a Captain America shield, there's so many situations where that is not good. Whereas like with Nitro, it's like almost every situation is made easier if you have Nitro last season, or same with the Nitro Fist or anything. So, you know, similar things with like the Jets. Obviously the Arsenal is like the big main problem, but I think everything just feels like Fortnite. Wait, I don't understand your conclusion there, because you said it doesn't feel like Fortnite.
No, my conclusion was, so at first when you said that, my brain was like, oh, but does it feel like Fortnite? But like after talking and saying it out loud, I'm like, no, this actually does feel like Fortnite. So I'm with you on that.
One of the things I want to elaborate on that you mentioned there was like, when I was, so the video I'm doing for this week is I ranked every item in the season. So there's 30 items, like, you know, minis, every weapon, every medallion, all that kind of stuff. And when I created the categories for it, I created a category that was like needs buffed. And I had one that's like needs vaulted. You know, they're on opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Firstly, nothing was in the needs buffed, which kind of goes to the point where I was like, I feel like all these items are viable. You know, it's like all the SMGs aren't like crazy at range, like the Thunderburst was. All the ARs are powerful enough, but you know, not super shredding. There's situations for them all. The shotguns are kind of similar as well. Everyone's really strong in certain situations that they set themselves apart. I was like, literally none of these things need buffed. Some of them need vaulted, but none of them needs buffed. So I was like, that in itself was, I was like, this is no doubt in my mind the most balanced start of season, at least, I mean, since chapter 3, that when I can remember, right? Like the amount of nerfs and stuff needed are so minimal. There's like 3 or 4 things, we just change them and we'd have like literally the most competitive meta I think we've ever had.
No, I agree. I think for, obviously we're touching on now like the my good of variety of weapons, right? And you touched on it. It's like genuinely off spawn. It doesn't like it doesn't really matter what you get as long as you get one of the 3 shotguns and one of the many switch weapons. You have a good loadout. It feels like genuinely there will be players who choose certain weapons. There'll be more people use the Monarch pistol. There'll be more people use the burst and the scar. And to me, that's always interesting. You watch one pro team and they're using something, and you're like, oh, that's cool. That makes sense that they're using it. And you watch another team and they're using like double micro SMG, and you're like, oh, that makes sense for them. And you see these sort of interesting takes that happen when it comes to loadout of what's strong and what's not. And that to me, as a coach and just someone who looks at the game in that way, is exciting, because I'm so bored of metas where it's like, for example, last season, you had to get one of the 2 shotguns of the pump and the gatekeeper, most of the time gatekeeper, and you needed a DMR. If you didn't have a DMR with a scope, you basically could not play the game. It virtually was unplayable. And this season, it's like you can get the Scar, you can get the combat AR, you can get the burst, or the Monarch pistol, or the Ranger pistol, and you're pretty fine. You can figure out how to like problem solve with it. It's not like your game's completely over because your RNG was based on what you got guns wise, or even if you got a scope or not. Like, I think it's so much better this season. It's just not even close.
I agree. I think, to put it like succinctly, in the loot pool this season, we have expression of playstyle. Like different, and we've actively seen it, like you've said already, Harry, where like different people are taking things consistently based off of what suits them and how they want to play. You don't feel pigeonholed. Like at times last season, and this chapter as a whole, really, with like the gatekeeper, for example, it felt like if you weren't taking the gatekeeper, you were playing like unoptimally. Like you weren't like picking the best possible choice. Whereas like now it's actually, let's run around with the sovereign a bit. Actually, I want to take the hammer shotgun now. Like it's actually like viable. Everything just feels good based off of what you want to do. And I think that's a really nice spot to be at. Obviously this season, we had obviously the additions of all these new items and blah, blah, blah. And we had new spots, right? You know, we had a couple changes around the map. I did see some people who wanted a bit more changes. I feel like we don't really get that at all anymore. I feel like in like the earliest days of Fortnite, we'd have like really massive changes map-wise, season to season. I feel like we've just not had that for a long time. So I'm kind of like, the expectations shouldn't be that, I feel like.
Here's where I'll disagree with the fact we need more. The entire of last chapter, everyone played the south of the map. in this sorry, the entire season, but this entire chapter, I have barely been in the northeast of the map outside of just using the launch pads with Fizz there. So
Yeah.
now when I'm there, I'm like, this is like a whole new map for me, you know? Like the whole I haven't explored this because I've just been landing in the south the entire time because it's where you land. So I feel like there'll be a lot of other players who feel that same way where, you know, no matter how much ranked or whatever you played, you probably just haven't been to the top right of the map that much unless that is your actual landing spot. So I feel like there is a lot of map changes. Like it's just, you know, in two big areas really, and I think that's enough. I'll be completely honest.
I'm sort of neither here nor there about it. Like I'm fine with it. I saw some people complain about it. I didn't think it was something to complain about. I think we're fine with that on that front. But on top of all the changes to the map, right, with Chapter 5 Season 4, we've had some changes to the tournament structure and some of the things we've seen there. I mean, that's always the big question in like global season, right? When the global championship is on, we know there's not going to be an FNCS. So what the hell is there going to be? And a lot of times people, you know, sort of worry about that. We were kindly graced with like a blog post or like a big update of just like what they were planning to do with tournaments and stuff. They had this whole Champions Road thing they announced that they tried to hype up and stuff like that. But for the most part, just breaking down some of the key tournaments that we have this season, I think we've got some really cool tournaments. Like we've got some really cool things on that side of things for Fortnite. Reload Cups, we're getting, obviously they teased that last season. Again, I don't know what to expect out of these. You know, they tried to run a performance eval for Reload Cups and it didn't work. Cough, cough. So we didn't even get a sneak peek at what these are going to look like just yet. But I'm excited for them, right? Because, you know, sort of leaning onto some of the things we talked about in previous episodes, right? When you're looking at like what could be a second track for competitive Fortnite, right? Could Reload be that, right? Obviously, we had Zero Build at a time. Obviously, we had a bunch of the UEFN stuff tried this year. But what if the second track to competitive just ends up being Reload if that's really good? That's interesting. It's cool to see they're exploring this. And based off of how successful this is, I could see them doing a lot more with it. So, you know, we got when Zero Build dropped and people were playing that a bunch, what did we end up seeing? A bunch of Zero Build lands. So if Reload bangs, what are we probably going to end up seeing? A bunch of Reload lands, right? So again, I'm super excited by the prospect of Reload Cups.
No, for sure. And I think when it comes to Fortnite, I think something we've kind of all felt in some aspect one way or another is tournaments are starting to feel a little bit more stale, whether it's, you know, duo cash cups don't feel the same as they used to, or solo cash cups. Obviously they're in the victory format. Having new types of tournaments is never a bad thing to me, because especially in a season like this where there's no FNCS and it doesn't really matter, it's like, have these fun type of tournaments. Have it, especially to touch on as well with those reload cups, there's mobile back. There's mobile tournaments, and it's like that's where they're putting the platform into it, right? You know, there's mobile console and PC cups. And I think, to me, that's just like they're testing things. And the thing I've always had a problem with Epic is when they don't test things and they don't try and find different solutions, they just do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Trying something like this, it might not work. People might hate it because it's a completely different style of tournament, right? It's not a battle royale. It's not your usual just you go and you get one life and then you go to the next game. It's like, it's probably very kill heavy, but to me, I think it's an exciting thing, and I'd like them to push for more type of tournaments like this going forward.
I think just like testing is something we all complained about for a long time. It's like, especially with FNCS formats and things like that. It's just like, just do it. Just test it. If it's rubbish, just don't do it again, you know? Just like, that's the thing where I feel like a lot of the time there's so many of these tournaments that, you know, they've like, you know what, why don't we just, and in this particular case, why don't we just try some reload tournaments? If they're shit, we just don't do them again. You know?
Exactly.
It might be. I mean, I think they're going to be. I saw a picture of some duo scrims, and it was like a 16-man heal-off because the zones aren't set up for it. So, you know, there's a high... Yeah, heal-off, by the way. These are going to be awful. Like, I'm just going to say straight away, massive changes need to be made. But they're still trying it, and this will show what changes need to be made. I think the heal-off one could have been kind of obvious, but also, like, how's the respawn feature going to work? Because if you respawn above your teammate's head, you can just camp for kills. You just keep camping the same player until you've got max kill. I think the eval... I think there was a test last season, and there was like capped elim points or something like that.
That's how they're going to do it.
I think there's like really easy abusable strats where you can basically just get max elim points by farming a knocked player who just keeps spawning in the sky. So I think there's like a couple obvious flaws with them, but just try it. Let's see if it's good. Let's see what the flaws are. Let's figure out ways to fix it. and let's see if people enjoy it. I'm not sure people will enjoy it as much as a normal BR tournament, because I just think like the mode doesn't set up like that. But I think it'll be really fun, and it's something different to play in the week, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, and that's fine if people don't. But
Absolutely.
at least we tried it.
Totally
at least
fine.
we tried it.
Yeah, I'm all for just trying stuff.
Yeah.
Right. We obviously mentioned evals just there when talking about it. They changed the format for evals, right? Evals now you have to have been a player that got series points last season. So the eval, that first eval of the season was stacked as hell. It was like watching semis, like it was literally just this is FNCS semifinals because it's all the teams from heats, which there were like 4. Maybe less than 4. There was like 4 pros who were complaining because they didn't make heats or they didn't get series points last season. Boo hoo, womp womp womp. You sucked last season, you get punished for it. But actually watching the evals was super fun as a result.
I would like to add one problem with this. I played Middle East. Now, so even if we had cooked on EU and got series point, or even if we'd cooked on it, we still wouldn't be able to play because we wouldn't have had series points.
Yeah, so I can speak from someone who's coaching a team for globals. They came 3rd in Middle East and they can't play, even though they're an EU team. So they have no series points in global, so they can't play. But apart from that, this is the best tournament I think Epic have done in a long time. I love watching every single game of it. It is just like, you go into any game, there's so many pros in it. The games are stacked. It's always surge. The end games are fun to watch. Like, it feels like what high elo duo cash cups used to feel like, when you'd see like good players killing each other and the hype moments, like this guy's briefed this guy or like killed him to get out of his qual or whatever. It's like you now see these moments happen consistently. And the one problem about eval always is the finals is a bit mickey, but at least the qualifying is enjoyable to watch. Like the is and for those 2 hours, like I was locked in. I can't remember the last time I was that locked in to watch an eval cup before.
Well, look, evals had fallen off towards the back end of last season. You know, when Aussie Antics and Coach Boop aren't doing viewing parties for evals, you know that's free money there for them. And even at that point, they're like, I don't want to watch this shit. Like that's how you know that shit was falling off. So I'm glad they did something to change up evals. But the most important tournament change, the one that everybody is locked in for, the one that everybody cares about. They have given us a tournament where you can win the FNCS pickaxe. Oh my goodness. I am locked and loaded and ready to become an FNCS champion in my own right. They got a bunch of cosmetic cups, FNCS cups, where you can now win the Axe of Champions that all of the FNCS winners have received over the course of the year. They're also going to be releasing it in the item shop, apparently, which is interesting. Can't wait to see how much money they bloody make from that. Or I guess we'll never see.
We'll never know,
the comp will never see that money, I'm sure.
We will never, ever know.
A 1 billion FNCS next season. Looking forward to it.
I promise you, I will try my best to find an Epic employee at Globals to blab.
Yeah.
And I won't ever tell anybody.
You'll leak it to everyone.
No, you never tell anybody.
But you'll know from my facial expressions how much money they were able to make from that. But on a serious note, this is interesting. Obviously, plus with this to add on for anybody that doesn't know, because I'm sure there's somebody who doesn't know, and they're like, "What? So what happens to the FNCS winners now? Are they just cooked? What's the prize?" They're making a new Axe of Champions. And I'm guessing they're going to change the design of it, just like how they changed the design of the original one that they had as well. So
do you think that'll be for globals?
I'd hope so. I'd hope the globals.
You'd think so, yeah.
Yeah, I'd hope the globals champions get the new one. It'd be a nice way to
surely they
launch
just get
the
the
new one as
trophy.
well.
No? They just get a trophy.
Yeah, but the in-game pickaxe is more important than that real-life trophy.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think the players would prefer the pickaxe.
I can't. The fact that that's true is so sad, because there's no way an actual trophy, get to lift up in front of the crowd, like, or just a pickaxe in game that everyone crowds around you.
Probably gives you input delay. Yeah.
How many of you either of you buying the pickaxe when it comes to the shop?
I'm earning it.
I'm winning it. Yeah,
exactly.
Buy it.
Yeah.
You lose aura if you buy it. You have
like 5 tournaments, and I hope it's the prize for all of them. And if I've got, if you throw enough darts at the board, eventually you're going to hit a bullseye. So
right.
And if that bullseye might be the item shop after the end of those 5 tournaments, but I'm getting it regardless.
If you have to buy it, like, that is so much aura debt. Like, your whole family line after you will be in aura debt.
I feel like if you buy it in the item shop, you shouldn't be allowed to wear it.
No, it should be a different color. It should be a different color.
Yeah,
So you know
there should be something we know. Yeah,
when you pickaxe on the walls, it just goes.
I was gonna say it's a wooden spoon, but that's way better.
It should be something like that for sure.
Yeah. I think that's the way. It was interesting because on the first day of the season when this was announced, I was streaming rarely. It's not something I do often, but
that is a rarity.
People kept coming into my chat, and it was like, firstly, what do you think of the new season? And the second most asked question was, like, what do you feel about the FNCS pickaxe, like being able to buy it? I was shocked that people cared that much.
It's
Obviously,
a sacred thing.
it is, I know, but I wasn't thinking like the casual audience would care that much. I thought it would be much more that just the FNCS winners and the people who are pros would care more because now it's more available to everyone. I'm buying it because I need it to take screenshots, most importantly. That's why I have been buying too many things in the item shop. Epic are getting too much of my money from buying V-Bucks right now. But yeah, I'm buying it because of that. But it was interesting because I just thought if they're making a new one, like I think that's not the worst idea because the idea is that they're meant to. I don't know if they've actually really been doing this properly, but it's meant to pass on to the next team anyway. So a team is meant to get it removed. So when you move to like a new specific form of the pickaxe, like it was meant to go from everyone else anyway. So no one should have the 1.0 version, but yeah, we know there's some people who still have it. We know that, yeah.
That's part of the thing that I personally don't like. I feel like if you win an FNCS, you should just get to keep the pickaxe. Like I don't. To me, it's just like that's part of you've won an FNCS. Like there's not like we're gonna suddenly have 1,000 people. Well, we are going to, but like we weren't gonna have 1,000 FNCS winners. I felt like you should just be able to keep it, right? And I don't know. It's a weird one. It's a weird one because, as you said, it's like it's a thing which is like you loads of those players earned it. They got that screenshot. They earned it, and it's just like that. Basically, it does mean something, but it doesn't mean the same. And
yeah, I think if like, oh sorry, I didn't interrupt, but I'm just going to anyway. I think if every player had kept it, and that was like the precedent that was set. So as soon as you got the 1.0, you kept it, and then the 2.0 players also kept it, and then they'd gone to sell it. I think that would be kind of rubbish. But the fact that they're like they take it away from everyone and then go into something new, I don't think I care as much anymore.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I just think that this is the easiest money Epic are ever gonna make. I just think genuinely, you build something up for like 4 years of like this is like you need to earn this. You need to work so hard. Even as you said about the casual players, it's like they might not watch FNCS, but they probably know what FNCS is and they know what you get from winning an FNCS. So to be able to have that, to be able to have that yourself. Of course, it's going to sell. Sadly, as the years go on, it's going to become less and less. If they do this again with a 3.0, and it's like next year, wow, you can get the FNCS pickaxe. Oh, really good. It's like, well, everyone's just bought a pickaxe. They're not just going to buy another one.
No, next year, the upsell, you buy the trophy from online as well. You get the Swarovski shipped to your house trophy.
You get an hour with the global winners.
So, my thing is, I don't mind this. I think it'd be cool if they gave a different variant to the people who want it legitimately.
This is what I think,
So like I don't mind you selling like the pickaxe after the fact, right? Once it's done now, because if you're gonna move on, if you're gonna make a new pickaxe every year, right? Because you're redesigning or whatever, that's cool. I like that, fine. And if you're gonna then sell it to everyone because now nobody can have it, sure, cool, makes sense, make money. Why wouldn't you? But it'd be nice if you gave a variant of it to people who won it. Maybe that they could still keep so that everyone has it, but they have the one because they actually won FNCS. That would be cool to me. But all in all, free money. And this does actually fall in line with something that they did recently that we didn't actually talk about on the podcast, where like Battle Pass skins now are they're no longer going to be exclusive to just the Battle Pass. Like there's a chance now that Epic will re-release old Battle Pass skins, from the new Battle Passes. And again, that was like a big change that's like similar in line to like this type of thing where people are like, oh, okay, like I don't mind. It's great that people get their old skins. But for us people who were the originals, who actually got it when we needed to, whatever, like it'd be nice to have something.
They didn't earn it though, like an FNCS winners.
It's not the same.
They just were playing a long time ago, and then it never came back. You're like, you were just lucky enough to have money 6 years ago in order to to buy something when other people didn't have a chance to. So I'm like, I think that one's a little different. So
their past selves need to get their money up. It's just that's what we're taking basically.
Just get your money up.
One of the things, the last thing about the pickaxe I think is quite interesting is like I wonder what precedent this sets towards Epic in an extent, because like say this makes an insane amount of money, right? Say the pickaxe sales are better than any of the latest cosmetics lately. Now, will that be true? Who knows? But that's just as a hypothetical. What does that say from Epic's team where they're like, we can market competitive products so incredibly well? Do we keep doing gimmicky stuff like this, or implement more competitive based skins and are they specific to that and limited, and then sell them 4 or 5 years later to try and make big bucks? Like, do you think this is something that could? I think it's a benefit. Like, it'll be positive if they sell a lot, obviously. But what do you think, like, the longer term impact could be?
I think
somebody.
Oh, you go first.
So what I was gonna say isn't too long, but you guys can expand on it. Somebody instantly was like, "Why isn't this more linked to?" Obviously, people are like, "Oh, this should fund the prize pool," and I don't think this should or will. But like, people are sort of just like, why is there no correlation to this and like the future of comp and like improving comp? And my first thought was like, how do you know it's not?
Yeah. That's why. That's my thought here. Yeah.
Right. Like, naturally, it makes sense for business people and money making people to go, hey, this thing linked to competitive just made us a ton of money. Maybe we should try and make more money from comp and do more with comp to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm thinking about it, at least.
Yeah, I think to me it more touches on the fact that rare items will just more likely, as they are already done with the battle pass and they're doing the pickaxe, are more likely just to be in the item shop. I think the most common one out of everything is the Travis Scott skin. I think that I generally think under every single like new skin that's like, when's Travis Scott coming out? When's Travis Scott coming out? It's like, I generally think like there's a higher chance that it leads to those type of skins being released to the game than them maybe going into competitive. Because as much as, yes, I agree, like, I don't know what more you could do. Maybe a glider, but that's not as good, or like a skin. But most of the time, the skins are pretty shit. No one really wears the FNCS skins. And it's like, at the end of the day, it feels like you would have to go backwards to things that were like popular when Fortnite was obviously at its peak, which was obviously, end of chapter 1, beginning of chapter 2, and I think, and maybe lockdown as well. And skins like the Travis Scott skin, I think that's more likely where they might go down to sort of re-release old things.
And more, I mean, it's not necessarily just about re-releasing old things. It's more about, branding and creating more stuff with competitive that can be sold in the future, or obviously, like, Epic will want to make make money off competitive. I doubt they do. They just want to not lose as much, I think, is probably the better way to think about it.
I think and I don't know where I got this from, but this is in my brain. I think they want it to be able to sustain itself.
Self-sustain.
Like, they want it to be a self-sustained ecosystem.
Yeah. Which
makes
sense,
right? That's the dream. That's the dream for any esports. Is most of the time for marketing at the end of the day, right? Like, you make an esport to make players want to continue playing for long term, which creates more profits for you, right? Or you make it so it's like people come into the game because of it, and then that way, right? But it's basically, I think anyone could dream of that. Your marketing making its own money. That is the dream. If like you can literally put an advert, and that advert just makes you the money back. It's like, well, or more, to be honest. It's like, but then obviously, but I think if it can get to that point, that's great. But I think it's more that I don't want them to take more money away from the esport and from a tournament. I want them to, increase the way they can profit from the esport and from tournaments and things like that.
For sure. All right. Well, that's all the good about this season. Now let's get into the negatives. Let's talk bad. What do we not like about this season? We'll start with you, Reese.
I have RNG. Now, this is like kind of specific. There's a lot of like meta-specific things, which, they're all, we'll come down to that later. But one of the things about RNG that I don't really like this season is that obviously it's very jetpack dependent, in particular if you play solos. Like, duos isn't as bad, but it's solos in particular, like solo cash cups and all that kind of stuff. It's very, very dependent on if you have a jetpack, and there's a lot of RNG in finding one. Now, there's ways you can reduce that, like the Avenger chests have like a 20% or 25% spawn rate of them. The rare chests are around 20% as well, so you can go to bunkers, you have a higher chance of getting one. So there's some skillful ways that you can increase your chance, but like the game is very fundamentally different with or without a jetpack as a solo. I've been playing a lot of solo customs the last couple of days, and the games where you have a jetpack, it's like you're getting to 11th zone easy. The games where you're not, rough games. Everyone else just flying in front of you,
Yeah, I think I am. I know you're talking about RNG, and I just think, to be honest, it's the whole jetpack thing, as you said. It's like even in duos, right? There's even bigger points in duos, right? Where I'm seeing teams like Cami and Seti and teams like Kanada and Cooper. Kanada and Cooper streamed it, where they'll get double jetpack, and you could generally dash wherever you want. It's like you just have double Grim coin. Like it's just you can dash wherever you want, get whatever surge you want, dash back, and there's no risk. But then you have little Timmy trundling along max distance zones with fizzes only, getting just like, oh, I got some surge on you. I'm now going to go 15 meters, like 500 meters ahead of you or 100 meters ahead of you, hold you again, get more surge. And you just do that on repeat. I think my point with the jetpacks is like, opens, I don't think it's as bad, right? Opens duos, because at the end of the day, there's so many ways around it. But when we get to globals, and there's teams who have double jetpacks who can literally hold everyone and do basically whatever they want, and teams who have no jetpacks or one jetpack, there's a huge discrepancy in how the game's. As you said, it's a different game. You are just playing. You're not playing the same game.
And like whether that's a nerf to, I was gonna say, a buff to spawn rates, so that it's better for everyone has them, or a nerf to the actual item itself. One of the two. It's like the impact on comp is very, very high. You know, if you're playing ranked, like that's like the most fun item ever.
Yeah.
If you get like the dash down, the fighting mechanics you can do with it, and like the pinches, the dashes, the plays that you can make with that are actually insane. It's such a high skill like get weapon or mobility item. But it's like for actual tournaments, there's going to be a big problem. I can foresee that absolutely.
Well, even actual tournaments aren't that bad, at least for like good players, because it's like we've had these types of metas all chapter, and even before this chapter, where like there's mobility items that like are really important, really crucial. But what do you do when you only have one on your duo, right? And like in most tournaments, like cash cups and stuff, like you're just gonna key and fight until you get two, right? Like we saw with Fist last season, right? Like when one person got Fist, you're gonna take the Fist, and we're just gonna scrap until we get more Fists. And I think we're already seeing that with jetpacks. Like you will take your jetpack, and we're just gonna play until we get one more. We're gonna play to get another one. But the real problem, I think, is like you guys highlighted of at the highest level in the global championships, and ultimately, I think as much as people will always do the, oh my God, the comp players think they're so important, they want everything for themselves. If there's ever a season where everything should be thought about from the lens of the highest level of comp down, it's this one. And I think, unfortunately, there's a good chance if things stay very similar to now, we'll be looking at the results of global championships, and it will very much be this team got double jetpacks most games, this team got double jetpack most games, this team got double jetpack most games. This team was really good, but unfortunately didn't get double jetpacks most games, so that's why they're a bit lower than they probably should be. Like that feels like what it's going to be like as we go through, and that's a bit unfortunate.
So,
I'd say.
What's one of the things that you think they should do? Because you know, there's the fact that they're rare isn't necessarily bad, because if you make them really common, it kind of goes against the part of the season where there's a lot of the other items that are the like Avengery items that you can use as well. So it's, you know, are they ever going to do that? Who knows? But I think, you know, what are like, it would be probably nerfs to the actual item. Like, what do you think would balance this out at the highest level whilst not making it ruined for the pubs and rank players who clearly love the item?
I'll be honest, I was just going to say you just buff the spawn rate. Like, I think you just make it more available so that then it's like, you're more like if you just have a good amount of loot, like you're likely to get, you know, a good amount of them. And if not, because I don't think there's a problem when you have a meta where there's a mobility item and like there's a chance you only get the one of them. Like I don't think that's bad. But when it's like very specifically about having to land at a certain place because there's more of those chests, right? It's like even with like the wings from the season Twizzy and Vanya one, like the fact that there was only a couple spots on the map where you could really get the wings consistently was like, again, that reflected a lot in the standings. And like when you go back and look at like who did well and why, like that reflects a lot. Obviously wings were a bit different because we didn't really know about them being as strong as they were until Grands hit. But it's like, I think you just buff the spawn rate and make them more accessible, and it's fine.
I think as much as it's the most fun part of it, I think the bunny hop mechanic is really cheesy. I think it's really like you are like as I said before, you are giving people unlimited dashes as often as you want for as much distance as you want. And to me, it's like if you give everyone that, it kind of just becomes insane. I do think everyone should have the mobility. Don't get me wrong. I think it's the fact only certain landing spots, especially the fact it's only POIs, which makes the discrepancy between POIs and splits even bigger, which is insane. Um, but I think the whole like being able to like boost, cancel, slide, boost, cancel, slide over and over and over and over and over again without really much in the way of like negatives behind it, because the jetpack doesn't really run out too much when you do it. Maybe make it so the jetpack uses more fuel when you boost or something along the lines. But the whole gimmicky like bunny hopping basically across the whole map to me feels really like it just feels completely uncompetitive, and it feels like you are getting rewarded for having a good movement, but at the end of the day, you spend 2 hours doing it, and everyone can do it. It's not the hardest thing to do in the world.
I feel like the fix for this is kind of problematic, because I think this is one of those items that has to be different in comp than it is in any other mode. Like, I'm trying to remember, say the Spider-Man's web shooters is a good example, where it used to have 10 in comp and 80 uses in pubs. I think this is one of those where they probably literally can't do it before global championships, but I think being able to say you put 10 boosts on one jetpack and then the rest is just fuel, so you could still use it to fly up if you wanted or something, but just having 10 boosts, that limits you so much just in tournaments, and then that you can, or maybe 20, I don't know, however many, it's whatever, I'm just saying 10 or 20, and then you have like a certain times, like when do I really want to use these? If I'm on a shambles rotate, do I want to go up high, boost, and like throw myself far to get through this mid-game rotate? If I want to stagger to hold someone for surge, like you said, if there's end game, I'm trying to save them all here, when and where do I use them? And then if one's running low, you can the chance you find another one's pretty low, but the reality is then there's like use of picking another one up and swapping it out. And again, but I would never want that in ranked and in pubs, because that would ruin it so much. Because the one good thing about it is the infinite slide right now, because in ranked, for example, like now that the nitro and the fists aren't in, it's like there's no good mobility. So you're either running around in cars trying to find people to fight, or you're just using those just to like fly around all the time. So it's like you need it in the rank mode. So this is something I hope they don't nerf for ranked and the other playlists. But I know it's like this is one of those things where I think Epic are going to do like probably a fix for everything, and people aren't going to be happy, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I think
worst case scenario is they just do what they did last season and just do enough for Globals weekend, so players haven't been able to practice it. That would be really frustrating.
That would be an epic classic.
It would, but it depends how they and when they say what they're going to do. Like if they announce that now and they say, look, for Globals, we're 10 uses or some shit like that, or your thing won't recharge, that could be one for that period. Get used to that now. That's fine, because you can, like, when you're playing all the cash cups, when you're scrimming, you can practice with that in mind, and like maybe people wouldn't do that in a cash cup finals, where like they're still obviously going to play for the money and whatnot, but they can at least have it in the back of their mind and like practice with that and think about, okay, what would I do in this situation here and whatnot. If it's like the day before Globals and they're like, by the way, just so you know, we're changing the meta right now. I've never seen that before. But that would be why I'm worse.
saying you're brave for thinking they would announce it so far ahead. That would be amazing.
I'm not thinking they. I'm not saying they would, but I'm saying if you're going to make a change like that, you have to.
It'd be fine. It'd be fine. It'd be more palatable if you did announce it way in advance.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Harry, what was your bad?
So we touched on it a little bit there. And I know not everyone's going to agree with this, but I think the lack of time before Globals, I'm not a fan of it. And I know these two here, all right, I can see they don't agree with me, but I think we touched on a lot of the reasons why I think this. There's a lot of things that I feel needs to be changed. You have the Arsenal, which is still in the game in competitive. You have the jetpacks, which I think we all agree need some kind of nerf, plus a couple of other things that can get tweaked, right? But we have 2 weeks. And it's like, so what, are we going to nerf it like a week before, and then we have a week to prepare for global championships? Or we're going to keep it the same because we don't have enough time or enough data or whatever to be able to actually change it in the way they want to, and then we're just going to be in a really weird meta for globals? This is the thing I wanted, and I wanted a bigger time, and not only for that, right? I think for like maybe not storylines, but learning more about teams, right? Teams are changing landing spots because obviously you got to, like, you're not all going to contest the same landing spots. And you don't get any time really for a lot of teams to play tournaments. Not every team and every region gets to play EU evaluation cups. You know, you have two regions like Asia, Brazil, Middle East, OC, who have one Duo Cash Cup before globals. That's what they have. That is their whole preparation, apart from obviously scrims and practicing things in there, before global championships. And I think, I'm not saying I'd want it right at the end of the season when the hype is the lowest. In the middle, I think would be perfectly fine. Like, as in, like, kind of where FNCS is, where you have, like, you know, like maybe a month, maybe a bit, like, maybe a month, a bit longer, just to,
A bit over a month, yeah.
yeah, just to test things, see how things are, nerf things, see how people are trying at landing spots, and nothing feels rushed. And right now, it just feels like everything feels so rushed, and it's like we've just got a new season, we're all hyped, and it's like, well, in like 18 days, globals is happening. It's like, well, I mean, like, it's hardly any time to really build up hype or help people get prepared and make it the best it can be, in my opinion.
Respectfully, if you can't pick a draw spot in 2 weeks, fucking quit.
Yeah.
The reality is, like, Jesus Christ, just land somewhere, you'll be fine. Like, obviously there's beef off spawn and whatnot, but I think the point that that's valid more there is not the short time period, because that could make an impact. I know Epic for the amount of bloody people who have messaged me and from different avenues, they're very interested in making sure this meta is good. And the thing is, what I think that's not going to be a problem. I don't think the short time frame will necessarily be a problem. Maybe it will, and we will see at that point. I think what's more valid there, what you're asking, is the lack of tournaments for them at that point. Like, this first week here should have had cash cups, in my opinion. Like, definitely. And then you'd have 2 weeks to practice, like 2 cash cups to practice rather than 1. I mean, as much as I love 5 skin cups in a row, because I want the pickaxe and I want the rest of the skins, of course, that's maybe not the best for the players who are going to globals. So I think that makes sense. But I think, like, the idea of, like, say, adapting to a new meta, finding new stuff, like, if you can't do that in 2 weeks, like, come on, you know, that's plenty. It's still Fortnite at the end of the day. I think any teams who say that that's too short to prepare, that's a fucking loser's attitude. Come on, you know.
But it's not just
this sounds like a disgruntled coach who's just scrambling to get this team for
oh mate, I want to sleep. I don't want to do the work now. I want to be sleeping and playing ranked.
You know what I mean? He just wants more time so me and him can play Football Manager before
literally all I'm saying is I think 2 weeks for any major tournament is a little bit short. That's all I'm saying. I think having a little bit more time, a few more tournaments wouldn't be fine. I'm not saying I want it 3 months down the line.
It's longer than 2 weeks, though.
It's basically
2.5.
Sorry, my bad. There you go. Because you also got when they fly out and my bad.
2.5, bro. 2.5.
Yeah,
it's like, I don't know. I think, see, like, people were complaining last time about adding the Crash Pad Juniors in last season, and that was like, I can't remember if that was the day before semis or if it was the after semis. But if it was the day after semis and there was like a 2 week break, there was like a 2 week break between finals. That's what I remember. That's what I remember. Can't remember the specifics.
It was 2 week break before semis.
They added Crash Pad Juniors before semis.
Yeah,
that was the one. Okay, yeah. And I was like, look, for all the good pros that are playing semifinals, you're gonna make it to grands, whether there's Crash Pad minis or not. And there's 2 weeks at least before grand finals where that'll really make an impact on your life. It's not that big a deal. Like, I saw so many people just moaning about it, and I was like, you guys can get used to an item in 2 weeks, especially one that's been in the meta before as well.
Oh yeah, one item that's been in the meta before.
Same thing with a new season. Like, you can absolutely do it in 2 weeks if there was more tournaments. So that's where I kind of agree. I think maybe having one duo cash cup is not ideal for that, but that's more on maybe it's just host tournaments rather than just not having a long period of time.
My perspective on this, I don't mind. As somebody who's like fortunate enough to closely see the prep that goes into globals, and from asking pros, like some of the top players who have won some of these events, like, how long before, you know, your tournament did you, like, invitational?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I asked Say and Cammy, like, when did you have your strat ready? Like, how long did you need before you had your strat? Was that like cooking the whole season? Like, I think they said it was only about a couple of weeks before, you know, when they like had that strat down. So it's like, and from seeing pros this season as well, getting ready for globals, like, they have enough time. It would be nice to have more tournaments to be able to test out more things for sure. But like the top level players, I think definitely have enough time to get ready. In terms of one of the things you mentioned there of like hype and like being able to like get excited for globals, I actually think in this case, I think we do such a terrible job in Fortnite of building hype that having it being close to the hype of the new season actually just does us a favor. Where people
Agreed.
people are already now interested in Fortnite, people are enjoying the game again. So now you tell them, hey, by the way, like you're loving Fortnite, you've been playing ranked all week and you didn't play it at all last season. There's also the Global Championships this weekend to watch. Remember fucking the Mongrel? He's not there, but some other top players are there that you like. So go watch the Global Championship. You know, like I feel like it if anything, it just does us a favor that it's closer to the hype of the new season.
Agreed.
And that maybe shouldn't be that way. Because in theory, yeah, it should be easier for us to hype up things or whatever. But like I just don't think it's a bad thing.
I think if you have like an easy in, though, you should take it. And this is an easy in. It's like the same thing where you could have almost, rather than hosting it in this season, you could have just hosted it in whatever OG season's coming. Now, I'm not saying that's a good idea, but like that would be an easy way to get viewers.
I love that idea.
That's it. Yeah, fuck it. Let's do that idea. That's way better for an idea.
Yeah. You know, it's like that's just an easy win. You're doing it in a season where people are interested. You know, this is maybe more coincidental, or maybe this season's been more designed for this meta in mind. But regardless, I think you take an easy win when it's there. One of the things I think is also interesting that you said there, Levin, was, you know, how long do players need? The real question is, how long do players actually want? Like, how long are pros actually going to put in like time and practice into? Because you know, there's the classic like FNtasia ends, season ends, we'll start grinding when the new season starts kind of thing. Like, were a lot of pros practicing last week before the new season? Obviously, there's strats and drop spawns and stuff like that. But like, you know, if you had an extra week, would it make that much of a difference, or would they just play ranked and then been like, okay, maybe we need to get on and practice the strats? Because, you know, the one thing we know about a lot of them is that, you know, obviously for globals, they're going to put a lot of prep and time in. And obviously the top players are as well. They're going to have a strat. They're going to cook it up. But like, how long are a lot of them really actually cooking a strat for?
But it's even in reverse of what you said there. Because if they did have the extra week, that extra week wouldn't be to just play rank. Because every pro at the start of the season starts cooking. Like that's when they do their initial, like, this is the meta, this is my strat, this is what I'm going to cook up. And, you know, they make their decisions about where they want to land and how they want to play based off of that. And so then, like, the longer you drag it out from there, like, again, just to what you're saying, it's like, like, the less some of these guys maybe get fatigued, or the less, like, again, I think it's fine. I think it's fine, personally.
I'm just coming from other esports where I think that having, like, if the expectation is 2 weeks is fine, I don't know. I just think that is such a little amount of time when it comes to, like, not just like cooking, not the strats things, whatever, cooking the meta, that's pretty easy to solve. But I think it's more down to, like, like, you can think of any esport. I always think of like League of Legends. Well, I know the most, right? When it comes to like the World Championship, similar thing. Usually, the team who is best at the start of the tournament, and obviously this is a 4-week tournament, right? So within 4 weeks, it's not the team who's best at the end, and it's also not the team that's best 2 weeks before, because they take time to develop strats and it takes time to get better, and you start counter stratting based off what people do, right? And I think that is also part of it, because I don't think what the meta is for this global championship is actually what the best thing is going to be this season. I think there would be something which would have been better than that, because there would have been more time to develop it, more time to figure it out, right? And that's where, from my perspective, I just think it's like, oh, if we don't care about time to prep, let's just do it the fucking day of the new season. Let's just fucking might as well do it the day of.
But it's not the same.
That's not what we're saying, though.
No, but like you're saying, like 2
weeks is absolutely enough, mate.
It's
like,
not that long a time.
It's hard. You can't compare it to, because you're right. In other games and other esports, 2 weeks would be a joke if you had like a whole new meta and a whole new season. But Fortnite isn't like those games for so many reasons. Like you mentioned, like the aspect of like even things like a meta of a tournament evolving over the course of like the month that the tournament runs. We have 2 days of 6 games each, you know, like we don't have a whole fucking seasonal league or whatever the fuck it is. You know, even things like anti-stratting and counter-stratting. The big difference in Fortnite compared to like other games is that in Fortnite, the way you scrim like is completely different to those other games. In other games, you're not scrimming against the teams you know you're going to play in the tournament, right? Like, for the most part, you're not, because you don't want to reveal things to them. In Fortnite, if you actually want to get good practice, you just have to play against the teams who, because you played your Noble session, and all the best teams are playing in a Noble session because that's the only good practice. And so either you're doing things to try and, like, you know, fake that team out based off of what you want to do at Globals. You're just not showing things at all because you just don't want to show things and you want to hide things. which in most cases that's just not even great practice in a lot of the
No.
time, right? You're just using that to learn maybe things in theory craft. So you could even argue it's pointless. Or 3, you just decide, fuck it, we're just going to show things, and who cares? So it's like it's just so different to those other games. And again, let's not be hyperbolic here. One day is obviously not enough, but the 2.5 weeks that pros use to get ready for globals is more than enough in most cases. I would agree with you that there definitely is a case to be made that, yeah, what the meta looks like at global championships would not have been what the best meta is. Like, the best team at global championships might not be the best team by the end of the season based off of how things evolve and what people learn. Womp. That's Fortnite, man. I don't know.
I think like, just to even hate on Harry even more, I think the fact that the tournaments evolve as the in-tournament meta, I think is the best way to word it, as you said, where the best meta for the season, whatever that may be, assuming nothing has changed, would be different regardless of where we started it, because it'll be the best for game 1, and then teams figure out what's going on, and then they have to anti-strat for game 2. Creating anti-strats in Fortnite works. Sure, you can create them like before the tournament, and you can plan for as many different opportunities as you can, but ultimately you have to be able to adapt to what the teams are doing in the lobby and anti-strat game to game to game, and then obviously day to day when you have a 2-day format as well. So like, I don't think it really matters if it's the best meta to start with. I don't think that matters, because it's going to be constantly evolving. The plays are going to be constantly evolving throughout the 2 days, regardless of if it's the optimal meta that would have evolved a little bit more or not.
Okay, but yeah, fair enough. You can that is a fair enough take. I'm not gonna hate on it.
We did it.
Fuck you both. I don't agree. My point was, I don't take my point, but this is fighting a 2-1
no, that's fine.
losing battle.
It's fine.
Yeah,
I'm sure in the comments somebody will say we are bullying Harry and we should stop bullying Harry, and we will hold that on the chest. Look, I don't think what you're saying is like wildly wrong or anything like that, right? Like, at all. I think what you're saying is very reasonable. It's just I just don't think it matters.
It's not going to be the difference between the best team winning and them coming 10th.
Right. Like, I think in most cases you give an extra. So I'll ask you this: how much at the top? Because I'm sure at like the middle of the leaderboard and even at the lower end of the leaderboard, given more time might impact those like results. But for the most part, like, how much do you think an extra 2 weeks changes the top 10 of globals? In most cases,
I think it has a huge change. I do think it generally has a.
I don't think it has a.
I don't think so. Your point of like the difference between a team winning and a team coming 10th, I think we can go to Vanyak and Swizzy winning FNCS with the wings. I think give 2 more weeks and other teams know about the wings. I don't think they win that as clearly as they did.
But that's because of a change in items, not in a change in the meta, though. That's because it was unvaulted last minute. But that's
they were unvaulted the week before. They were changed the week before.
Yeah, but
that's different. That's a very specific change to like the what was a meta that had existed for a whole season, and then was changed right before. We, as the conversation before this just talked about, we don't want things changing right before. But like, as things exist now, what change? Like, how much changes based off of like what actually
I do think giving 2 more weeks, the top 10 changes. I think that's a fair thing to say. I think more things are figured out, more teams figure out what works and what doesn't. Because we all know scrims, they do matter, but they don't show everything. They don't tell everything. So I do think having tournaments with more finals lobbies would change how people played, and it would change the top 10 for sure. I do think, obviously, the best teams are still going to be the best teams. I'm not saying fucking, Clix and Vino with 2 more weeks are going to go from 1st to 20th. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying how teams play would obviously change with more time prepared, and some teams might perform better, some teams might perform worse. That's just.
Everybody. I quite literally said that as well. Like that. Of course, that's the case, but.
So you asked me, would the top 10 change? The answer would be yes, the top 10 would change.
But my problem is, and I don't want to go too much into this because we have so much more to talk about on this episode, but the way I watch you, because I watch your stream, so I see how you talk about predictions on your streams. The way you talk about predictions, you often are basing them off of things that are pre-existing already to the season. Like, you'll talk about a team and their spot situation and how, based off of their spot, these factors make them a favorite to win based off of their playstyle, what their spot, etc. those things don't change based off of an extra 2 weeks. So most of the top 10, in most cases, stays the same, regardless of the extra 2 weeks or not, because you predict them based off of things that aren't changing.
Yes,
you are
the way
predicting Peter
teams are
Boy
playing
to do
around
good.
them.
Wait, listen. Let me finish. You're predicting Peter Boy to top 10 in global championships because it's Peter Boy and they land in the raft, and if they're not contested by Suzy and Banyak, they're going to top 10, right?
Yes, but the thing
what
is,
changes in the next 2 weeks? We can do this across your top 10. If you showed me your top 10, we can do this, and you're not going to say not much is going to change.
But
that's
no,
my
because
problem with
teams,
this.
if you give 2 more weeks, Vanya Swizzy might not be contesting. They might realize they don't want to contest. They might realize something else is better for them. That happens in 2 extra weeks. They don't have the time to decide that at the moment. So your answer, would Pierre Bompoyo top 10? Right now, they're going to finish lower than if in 2 weeks Vanya and Swizzy realize, wait a second, landing raft and contesting really is not worth it. And they're getting, maybe more off spawns, more. Like, that's all I'm saying. I'm saying more time isn't a bad thing. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying more time is beneficial. I think most people would be fine with it. I'm not saying I want 3 months. I'm saying I say in general for most players, 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks is perfectly a normal amount.
That's fine.
Thank you.
But Swizzy and Fanyak would know before 2 weeks. But
I mean,
and moving on, the uglies of this season. Reese, what is your ugly this season? Talk to me. I think we all know what it is.
Yeah, the War Machine's Arsenal. I was thinking about this the other day, and I was asked for some feedback on it, and my feedback was you can't spell Arsenal without arse, because that's what it makes the meta. It's just so bad. It's just one of those things where I'm like, why do I have an item that has infinite rockets? Like, I feel like it was designed to not be OP because it does 25 player damage.
Yeah, they really tried. Like, they really tried.
I do feel like they were like, this is people, they're not going to hate this.
We got it on point.
Still does 100 structure damage and it's infinite rockets. Well, I feel like they thought they kind of cooked on this one a bit, which I appreciate, but they did not. It's awful. But it's funny though. It's not overpowered for anything outside of actual tournaments, because if you take this in ranked, it is so bad. It's just annoying. Like if 2 players have it and they both spam you, yes. If you have a guy who has a jetpack in it and 2 players are boxed up and you just grief them and you can, yes, okay then. But for the most part, I feel like anytime I pick it up, or if we're trying it, it's I'm not I'm dropping 20 kills every time. I'm just griefing people around me. It's not like it's super, super overpowered to the point where I'm just dropping tons of kills because of it. It's just I'm just griefing the teams and then, maybe killing them after that at that point. But in tournaments, griefing everyone is the tournament. So that is the game. So it's insanely busted there. Please just take it out. Don't nerf it. Just take it out.
I mean, it's just explosive in comp. Is there more to say? I think we've gone through this cycle 100 times, and the answer has not changed. We do not want explosive in comp. They are shit having competitive. We do not need to have it. And we actually had this last season with unlimited explosives, and we've literally learned nothing and added just unlimited explosive back in again. But not only have we had unlimited explosive, we've added a fucking minigun on top of the infinite explosives. So not only are you blowing everyone up, you're also dealing damage to it. It's like they were like, hold on a second. So people really didn't like the explosive bow. They really thought it out. How about we just make it unlimited again? So you don't even need the medallion to make it unlimited. Everyone can have it. You can have double of it, and you get a minigun. So it's how about we just give everyone everything? It's like we're learning nothing. We're just learning nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I think I said this last season when we had the Boombo conversations, but it's we've been through this already, and I thought we all had a common agreement, Mr. Epic, that we just wouldn't have explosives. I thought we had that agreement. And I don't know what happened. Maybe the Mr. Epic who was making sure that agreement was in place, got moved to another team or some shit. And so everyone else in the team was like, let's fucking let this cook,
It's Donald Mustard.
Donald Mustard was keeping him out.
Yeah, Donny Mustard. He was there saying no explosive competitive. All right, cool. He leaves lads, have you heard about it? The explosives ain't better.
But genuinely, I thought explosives were just one of those things like cars and NPCs where we just had a common ground and agreement that these things would just not be in competitive. But,
from chapter 2, season 1.
Yeah, literally.
2019. We had maybe these grenades aren't good for the game. Remember that? Rockets stayed in for the next season, but they were taken out not long after that. Or actually, no, it was maybe a bit longer after that. But You know, chapter 3, we've not had basically explosives since then. Maybe we should just stick with that. I think someone write that down.
That would be
Please.
nice.
Yeah.
No, you know, nothing against Epic, but they do really have like a hard on for just bringing things that just destroy all your builds. From chapter 4 onwards,
True.
every season is just like, so you know this nice little box you built. How about C4 rocket rams, fucking hammers, the artillery missile, predator missile, fucking like whatever you want. I feel like I'm a fucking AC-130 Model Warfare 2 with the jetpack. It actually feels like I'm sat here dropping 12 kill streaks and just killing everyone. Like you said, it's useless in ranked. I feel like I'm God mode with it.
That's because you can't hit a bullet without it. That's different.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point. That's the point. I'm shit and I feel like I'm dropping 20s.
To be fair, I feel like I've not died to that much. There's been like 2
Yeah.
times I can remember where where it's actively like affected me, but it's like it's just annoying, and we just don't need it.
It's
Not much
arse.
more to
Get it
say.
out.
Please
basically.
Yeah,
remove
we
it.
don't need
It's,
to-
it is us.
Yeah.
I think it will probably be removed.
Yeah, I
if
would
had
think so.
to, if I had to be, if I had to make a bet.
If only we had more weeks, then we'd know.
True.
Unfortunately,
No,
Yeah,
two more weeks, and I
Yeah.
think we'd figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2 more weeks.
Hopefully.
No, Epic might figure out. I think
Yeah,
we might
they
know.
might figure it out, yeah.
I feel like this is one of those items where the comp team was probably just like, no, I don't think this is the one, and the other team were like, let's give it a shot. Just see what they say.
Try it.
And
No,
they
but
put it in.
that's where they were like. That's why the people were like, "No, guys, trust me. We balanced
Yeah.
it this time. It doesn't do as much."
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
the comp team people were probably there like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, you know what? Sure.
Just
Let's
put it in.
Yeah,
Let's see.
we'll give you a week." And let's see. Yeah, watch this get removed after 1 week. They're just like,
Yeah.
we'll give you a week.
Yeah.
And it's gone. At the end of the week, after the skin cups this week, the shit will be gone
Gone.
to watch.
Oh yeah. But it's
okay.
interesting they took the Mr. Doctor Doom's gauntlets out from the drop spot, which
I
is
swear
the
that's
exact same thing.
yeah. I swear it's
Literally.
even like a little bit worse. I swear,
It
like
actually is
'Cause it's
worse.
got, like,
Yeah.
the power bomb.
the
thing,
left
you know?
click
Yeah.
is really it's basically useless. The
Yeah,
left
and the right click is way less frequent than infinite rockets, so it's literally worse than it. So and they've taken it out. So I'm like, I think they're just gonna.
It's only a matter of time. It's only a
yeah.
matter of time.
We'll see.
Harry, what was your ugly? That was also my ugly. I didn't have an ugly this week because I was just gonna say Arsenal.
God, I
Yeah,
thought my bad was ugly. How long we talked about, it, but I've got an interesting ugly. All mid-map objectives are just the same. I just think
Ooh, this is a cook.
I think for me, right, personally, I don't know if you all agree, bunkers are shit. Bunkers are shit. They're boring to watch. It's just, oh, look at me. I got a bunker. I got the RNG. Let me build a 10 by 10 in brick. And now you can't get to it. Like, and there's no real skill behind it or anything. And the forecast spawns are the same. The chance for the forecast spawns are the same. The bunker spawns are the same. The island is the same. It's like, nothing's changed. How nice would it be? You don't even have to change landing spots. Move the forecast tower around. Move them somewhere else on the map. Every landing spot plays differently. You'll have certain landing spots rotating earlier to get forecast, some rotating later because they don't have forecast. Like, you're going to have so many cool, unique ideas. And for bunkers on top of that, I've always thought, and I think someone in my chat said it was a really good idea, for bunkers, what I think they should do, make 2 entrances. Make it like 100 meters away or 50 meters away, 2 entrances. So you can't have just a 2x2 and both of you be on it, or like a 4x4. You would, if you put 2 solos on it, all it would take is one person to key one of the entrances. The other team would have to disengage, and then you'd end up having a fight actually in the bunker, and you'd have like a box fight in between. It would make it more interesting than what we have now, which is I've claimed the bunker from first zone. That means in third zone, no one can touch me, and it's unenjoyable. And then Island as well. I mean, Island's been fine for the most part for a long time, and I don't really think there's a problem with it. But it's just on top of all the things that haven't.
So
Yeah.
I think one of the things I find interesting is they're the same, but they're much better, and that's purely a meta thing. So bunkers, as kind of alluded to earlier, with the jetpacks, if the spawn rates stay exactly the same, if you don't get jetpacks off your spawn, you have the highest chance of getting them from a bunker. So because there's the 3 rare chests which have like 20-ish% spawn rate, and then there's 1 Avengers chest in every one as well. So if you have 1 or you have none and you need 1, now there's actually a reason to go for a bunker, which makes sense. Obviously, you're not guaranteed it there, but that's going to be your highest chance. You're not going to be able to find one lying around in a POI for the most part because people will have taken them. So the bunkers are a bit more valuable. And the same thing applies to forecast, even though almost every winner of FNCS this year has been a forecast team, which for some reason still players have not realized yet. Well, in most regions, if you there's it's almost like 50% if you look across all regions all season. So if you look at now with the current meta, so assuming that the jet spawns stay exactly the same, right? There might be 10 teams that that's maybe bold, have double jet, right, in the meta. That's probably big to say. Let's say 5 to 10 teams have double jet this season. So for the majority of the lobby, it's a zero mobility meta, just quite frankly. So that means that if you forecast, it's even better in a zero mobility meta, because now you're the team who can always be the one staying ahead, holding everyone who doesn't have mobility. Now, obviously, the jet teams will be able to catch up to you, but if you're jet team and you have forecast,
you win global championships.
You're basically a global championship winning team. Yeah. So they are the same, but I think they're infinitely more valuable purely because of the meta that they've been putting right now. And Island, from that perspective, is well, you get a guaranteed arsenal from there. And if that stays in, which we don't think it will, then it's worth griefing for, kind of similar to some of these older seasons.
You know what it is, Harry?
What?
If they had changed it too much, they knew you would have been asking for more weeks. So they just thought, let's just give
this new week, the new more time gimmick needs to stop immediately.
No, I should give you that. I agree with you. It's the mid-map objectives at this point are a bit stale for me. I think it's one of those things where, like we said, they're more valuable, which is nice. And so hopefully now there'll be some really interesting fights around those. Obviously, the whole Peterborough and Poyo versus Clicks and Veno sort of angle that we have now on the southwest of the map will be cool. Bryson Bolts versus Flix and Vico, even though I don't think Flix and Vico will be. Actually, who knows? Maybe they do actually want to try fight those guys for it, but probably not. Who knows? Whatever happens around the map, I think there'll be some interesting dynamics there, and even the teams that heavily play for Ireland, that there will still be some interest in it. I think that's just amplified by global championships. I think if we had another FNTS season and it wasn't globals and it had all stayed the same, then yeah, I think it would have maybe hurt a bit more. I'd like to see them switch them up. I think they just will next chapter. I think it's one of those ones where it's just this bunkers was the gimmick for this chapter. And then we'll probably see some changes up next chapter, hopefully with Ireland as well, and bunkers, or just something new. Just some new mid-map objectives would be great. I would love to see them experiment wildly more with new mid-map objectives now that they have a better grip on the whole lag situation.
Yes.
And so there's less reliance. Maybe they try switch up the surge thresholds a bit, and in turn with that they add more mid-map objectives so people are still fighting and eliminating each other. But yeah, it's one of those things where I feel we just have to bite the bullet for this season. But I get that. I'm with you on that one, Harry.
That's good. That's good. I'm not getting beaten down instantly.
Shut down, No, that's a terrible point. What do you mean that's ugly? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I love the mid-map objectives that they haven't changed whatsoever. That's so good.
Right.
So interesting.
So amazing. My favorite thing. Well, that is us talking about this season. If there was anything we missed, don't let us know in the comments.
They'll let us know about armored walls. That's what they'll say.
Oh, yes. Armored. Yeah. There's too many of them. There you go.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Having 30 armored walls surprisingly isn't fun.
Yeah, who would have thought, right?
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Yeah, fucking armored walls, man. I'm actually glad we didn't mention those.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring something back. We're gonna bring something back that we haven't done in a while, that I am excited to be bringing back, because now that we have our producer Quartz with us, it's gonna be even cooler. We're gonna be doing some blind rankings. Everybody loves a bit of blind rankings, eh? I have chosen these for you. I think in the past I let you guys pick, but this time I've allocated what you'll be ranking to you.
Ooh, okay.
I'm blind ranking how many weeks before the next global championship.
Maybe.
You're gonna be shocked when it's 2.
Yes. This one will be a lot more fun for the visual listeners on YouTube, but Spotify listeners, don't worry. We will guide you through this, and any other listeners on any other platform, because apparently people listen on things that aren't Spotify.
Legends.
We're gonna start with you, Resub. We're gonna start with you.
Make me feel special.
I know how much you love medallions.
Big fan.
And so, since we have now had this chapter and we now have all the medallions for this chapter, you're going to be ranking some of these medallions that we've had throughout the chapter. And so,
all of them?
Resub, you don't know which ones you're going to have.
Okay.
But yeah, just let's focus on this. Resub, you will be blind ranking the medallions we have had in chapter 5. Let's start. Let's begin. I need to get the medallions up because I actually don't know the names of all of them by the logos. So I'm gonna look them up.
Ranking in terms of what? That's my question.
In terms
here.
of like which ones are the best one, like which ones would you prefer? This is you, Reese. So we care about
me as a player.
This is your blind ranking of the medallions, however you want to rank them.
Okay,
we're giving you that freedom here.
Given me as a player, then I'll use that. If I have it. Okay.
There's all 10 on the floor. Which one do you pick that one?
So to start with, on screen right now we have the Megalodons. This is the Nitro medallion.
Nitro medallion. Mate, I was cooking with this. I'm not gonna lie. AKA, I ran in box and missed every shot. I'm going number 3. Number
Nitro
3.
medallion number 3. Okay,
Nitro medallion number 3. That's a goated medallion.
Machinist medallion, the shield medallion from last season.
1. That's got to go number 2.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. All right, what we got next? Oh, it's one of the new ones from this season. We got Mysterio Stealth medallion.
Get number 9 because mate, carry that in game, crouch around edge side of zone. Yes. It is nuts, but also shit for the rest of it. So
fair enough. Infinite ammo medallion.
5. I like to spray a lot. Wait, that's a bit high actually. Maybe
no, too late.
Too late.
It's locked.
That
is very high for it. That's a medallion.
Yeah, that was pretty high. I'm not gonna lie.
That was very, very high.
I do miss a lot of shots though.
Aspect of Siphon medallion, the Underworld medallion from a couple of seasons ago.
I'm gonna put that at... Mate, I'm not getting any kills, so I'm gonna put that at 7 personally.
Fair enough. I love the honesty.
You know, we that's just not getting any use in my inventory, is it? So
yeah. Aspect of combat.
That's the damage buff one. That's in at number 10. That's at number 10. Pros drop this medallion, guys. Come on.
Yeah. All right, we got another new one. We got the reveal medallion.
Number 1, baby. Put him up at number 1. That is so broken.
Yeah, it's really good actually. Another new one, the Doombot Siphon medallion.
That's also a siphon. Is it any different from the other siphon? No, it's exactly the same. So put it in number 8.
Okay, there you go. A bit lower though, but just because it has to be.
Sharing.
Aspect of agility.
That's it,
Peterbot medallion.
Number 4. In my hands, nowhere near as good as in a Peterbot's hands. So.
And
the sprint one, number 6. That's pretty good. You know what?
That's Grim coin, I'm not sure, but the rest I'm cooking.
Nah. All the other ones are way more useful for me, mate. Like, let's be real. Like the sprint coin also being there. You know what? No stinkers there. No stinkers. I'll take that.
Yeah. The reveal coin as well. The reveal in your hands.
Broken.
In your hands.
Get me to an end game with some ammo and let me know where every player is, and that's the freest refreshes you can ever get in your life. Literally.
I mean, fair.
It's
fair.
So, and my awareness is so bad. So being able to always, 30% of the time know where everyone is. Oh yeah. I think that's the most broken medallion there's ever been. So
you know what, your list is actually, I actually think your list is all right. When this does get clipped up for TikTok, I think they're gonna flame you.
Yeah,
having that.
It's the perfect list then. It's the perfect list.
That is why it's the perfect list, because it's an actual good list. Yeah, it's a good list, but it gets the engagement. So that's exactly
natural content.
I clearly created it with that in mind. Yeah, it's in my blood.
It's quite literally in your blood. No, I like this list. Harry, though, we're gonna move on to Harry. Did you disagree with anything other than aspect of agility?
Not really. I think that was pretty fine. I think. The infinite ammo. That is way too high.
Yeah, that one was too high. I'm not gonna lie.
If you're landing a mythic POI, not mythic POI, a POI, you're just never running out of ammo, really.
No.
Yeah.
But I did at least say that and then realize that it was too high. I was too quick. I would put it like 7 or 8 maybe, but
that might be dead last for me.
I also just spray and miss every bullet, so I often run out of ammo. So having infinite ammo is actually quite useful. Exactly. So it's quite useful to have a lot of ammo for me. So
yeah. No, 100%.
Mine just top 10 players I hate, or where are we going with this?
No, so before we actually do yours, I did wanna. I sort of messed up when doing the list for Reese's one, because there've only been 10 medallions. Like there was the 5 from season 1, but they all were like the like you can't rank those because they were all like the same. So like. With a blind ranking, you want there to be more than the 10 options usually, right? Because then there's like some doubt. and I was hoping Reese wouldn't realize that there's only 10 possible. So it's like
I just know the good ones,
down.
so I was like, I knew where they'd roughly be.
Right. But Harry, you have a much tougher time because there aren't just 10 options for the one you're going to be doing.
Can't wait.
Because you put in, our outline that you loved the variety of guns and things in this season. You were going to be blind ranking some items from this new season.
Ooh.
Okay. Resub's new video. I'll compare.
Yeah.
There's 30 items. I can confirm there's 30 items. So there's 20
brilliant.
missed out here.
Right. So blind ranking new items from this season. Let's go. Let's do it. Hit us with the new one. Dual mag SMGs.
Ooh. So using it feels really good, but then you actually compare it to like the ARs, and it's actually not that much better. It's not even really better than the ARs, like the Scar. I think if I'm thinking what might come up, I'll put it in 4. I'll put it in 4.
4. Okay.
So.
So
Okay, because there might be
That's
bandages
high.
or something. There might be bandages or something that come up.
That's high. Captain America's shield.
See, I love this. This is so much fun to use.
It's so much fun.
It's so, but when it comes to competitive, how viable will it be? You have to have the auto turret, so I'll put it lower. I'll put it 6.
6. Okay.
Safe.
Okay.
Safe bet.
So, yeah, I was gonna go 7, but
This is a new shotgun, right? Is this a sovereign shotgun?
Sovereign,
This is a sovereign shotgun.
so if I'm talking in my hand, I am the worst with the shotgun. It does no more than 50 damage in my hands, so it has to go low. I know people like this shotgun. Don't worry, I know people love this shotgun, but I am awful with it. So I use this less than I use the Captain America shield as a shotgun.
Wow.
So
That
I'm
says
gonna
everything.
have to put it lower than the Captain America shotgun shield. So
But how low?
I'll put it 7. I'll just put it 1 below.
7?
There's still some
Okay.
awful things in my
Okay.
Okay. What's next? Ooh, the Doom's Arcane Gauntlets.
It's not uncompetitive. I'd like to put it in 10. I will not be using this in tournaments. Thank you very much.
Valid.
Yeah, that's a safe option to put in 10. I feel like fair enough. But do you actually think they're good? I've not used them much. I think I used them once.
They're a bit like
A bit wobbly. Oh, we got Chug Splashes back this season, so
3.
we put in Chug Splashes 3. Oh, that's high.
I love
That's nice.
Chug Splashes. They're so good. Like they're just for fighting, for heat, like helping for heal off. Or it's just so nice.
Monarch pistol.
In my opinion, the most fun gun this season. This gun is so. If we're doing a fun tier list, this is one. This is one. But
So are you putting it 1?
no, absolutely fucking not.
So are you putting it, mate?
I already know that SMG is way high. I wish I thought
so.
Yeah. Because
I see you got to put. It's got to be 1 or 2, man. It's too fun not to have
5.
1 or 2.
Give me 5.
5 for the Monarch. No love for the Monarch pistol. Damn. Okay. Jetpacks. Or is this War Machines?
No,
this is jetpacks. This is not how the jetpack.
1. Number 1. Mr.
The only
Jetpack.
mobility. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only mobility. Armored walls. Oh my God.
As annoying as they are, they'll go in 8. Like it's just at the end of the day, like most of the people who full boxing themselves in armor balls are shit anyway, so you'll kill them eventually. So just put it in 8.
Okay. And what is the Strike AR unvoted this season?
I will put this in. It's got to go in 2. I think this gun is insanely underrated. I feel like no one's really picking up because of the burst hype, and I think this gun is just insanely good.
Best box fighting gun this season,
Yes,
100%.
yes. The structure damage is insane on it.
And what will be the last item?
Oh, that is fine. I'll take that. Harbinger SMG in 9. I'll take that. That is not the best, but it's not bad. It could have been worse. With the micro SMG in 4th, I thought I was cooked after I said that.
That's all right.
As soon as the Captain America shield came out, I forgot about I forgot about everything that was in this season.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. What would you change? What would either of you change?
The Monarch has to be higher for me, man. The Monarch pistol has to be higher.
Yeah, the twin SMGs are also insane, but only if you're in like a 1 to 2 tile radius. Outside of that, I tried a couple solo games. Some of the solos customs we're playing, just playing them only and the shotgun, you are doing literally 0 damage at 2+ tiles. It is insane. So like I would put them like 7 or 8, I think.
Yeah.
They're like broken if you're in their face because it's like an instant kill pretty much, but they're you need to carry another like an AR with them at the same time. So you've basically got a triple weapon this season, which just isn't ideal with them.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Like, all you have to carry is like a shotgun, and then it's like it feels so clunky to use as a shotgun.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. I think both of you guys are decent lists. To be fair,
Yeah.
Let's go.
Maybe I put Armored Walls a bit higher. Maybe Armored Walls.
Nah, it's just only bad players use armored walls. Just don't die, then you don't have to use them, or don't position badly, and you won't get lobby sprayed.
Well, funnily enough, I've not used them much this season purely because my binds reset and I forgot what my trap bind was. So it's currently on like Y, and I can just never reach Y. And we were playing a game like yesterday, Harry, and Harry's like, "Pop down an armored wall," and I'm like, "I don't know how. I don't know my binds. I don't know what to do."
So the first game, Deej, he's not. By the way, I think I've died while DJ's knocked, and he's screaming, "Put armor down!" Like, I'm not even joking, 7 or 8 times because I also did not have it bound, and he was screaming it, and I mashed a bunch of buttons where I thought it was, and I changed it to my inventory. So rather than putting an armored wall down, I'm just sitting checking out what I've got in my inventory right now.
He was like, I do have those armored walls.
I do have them. Yeah, no, they're here.
I do have them, yeah.
They're here.
And then I've not been able to get used to the bind sense, so I keep dying every time you shout and place an armor down, because I keep also putting open in my inventory still. So I feel your pain very much so right now, Levin.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough out here. I'll get used to it. Let's talk about some more global championships. This is a competitive Fortnite podcast. We call ourselves here. So let's talk about some competitive Fortnite and things that have been going on this season. I want to introduce a new segment here. As you know, right? We heavily we are rich when it comes to the scrim bucks. There's so many scrims to watch and there's so much to consume. But nobody here watches scrims more than our good friend Coach Harry. This would have been also Boop, but Boop is not here. So nobody watches more than our good friend Coach Harry. And so Coach Harry, as the salesman you are, give us the scrim stonks. What should we be investing our scrim bucks in? What team should we be investing our scrim bucks in going into global championships right now?
Look,
sell me. Come on.
Football might have not come home, but Fortnite's coming home. CZB and Nathan are bringing it home for global championships, right?
Okay.
You have to understand, a team who we talked about for the past 3 seasons, so the team has been really good in cash cups. Finally, last season proved what they can do on a grand finals, right? And it seems like this season with the Grand Glaciers buffs, with the jetpacks they're getting, they have 5 of the blue chests, the Marvel chests. It's not stopping. They're just only getting better and better. A landing spot, which I think is insanely underrated, with a team who's only been performing better and better. And you can see from the scrims, right? I think on day 2 they were first, second, third, or first, second, back-to-back sessions, right? So it's not like they've taken their foot off the pedal. It's not
what
like
were their scrim results?
I think it was first. I think it might have been first, second, third, or first, second, something along those lines.
Cooking.
Yeah, they were insane on like the first couple of days. And I just think for the way the season is set up for them, especially again last season DMRs, I think having a controller player on your team with DMRs naturally is a slight disadvantage, not that big of a disadvantage, but slightly. An aggressive team that they are, in which they can be in the early mid game. And the fact that they are so consistent with their mats when it comes to end game, and their mat efficiency is so good, and then add on jetpacks, which naturally gives you that, I think we're setting up for a top season for them. And global championships, we do have a good UK team. It's been a while since we've had a full duo of UK players who are performing well, and finally to have one, it's a good time to be alive.
Reese, are you investing?
It's a tough investment to make. This is like a dodgy crypto coin that could absolutely flop or do amazing.
Did you not see all the investment we had during the past 3 months into this dodgy crypto coin?
I've heard you, but you might be pumping it so we can dump it later on. So I'm slightly concerned a little bit here.
It's a pump and dump in
I'll be real. I mean, this is like a 50-50 for me. I'll be completely honest with you, because they have been really good, but they've also just been like really good in scrims, really good in cash cups for a long time, and have done 1 good grands from memory, at this moment. So like, do I necessarily say, they're going to absolutely cook when it comes to the biggest stage of the year? Not necessarily concerned, but they're one of those teams where if they were in top 10, top 5 even, I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, that's a surprise, But it's hard to fully invest my scrim bucks in them at this point.
Hey, if we're going off recency bias, They're coming off a very good grand finals. I mean, forget the other grand finals, forget all of that. The cash cups from last season where they were top 3 in pretty much every single one, hand in hand with Swizzy and Vanyak and Vico and Flixie. That's a good pairing to be a part of. That is good company to be a part of, and I don't think people talk about them in that sort of same vein. It's like people, when they think of Nathan, don't think of Nathan and CCP doing well. They think of Nathan and Archie still. They still think of those moments back in the day. They don't.
Yeah, you reap what you sow, isn't it? Like
exactly. And if a man like that, Nathan, can carry Archie to some Cash Cup finals, what can he do with a good player next to him?
I think to be honest with this, the reason why a lot of people aren't talking about them is because they've done good in 1 grands and 1 grands only. It's like you think about Swizzy Vanyak to start with. Even when they did good, I'm sorry, I was going to say. Obviously, even after Swizzy had won his first FNCS with Putrick, which people should have been talking about way more, no one still rated him individually that much. There were so many signs that he was insane individually, and same with Vanyak. There's a lot of signs over and all, but it was until you saw them become a staple in grands where you're like, oh, these guys are rated. I think it just takes a lot to be rated highly, and CZB and Nathan are right on the precipice of that right now. But they're just, if they do good, I know, right? If they do good in globals, then I think people will start talking about them like that.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll be honest, Harry, you sold me when you said it's coming home. As soon as you start talking, I was sold. I'm investing, I'm not investing all my scrim bucks, but you got to back the UK a bit here. So I'm making a sizable investment in CZB and Nathan.
The most important thing you need to know is their second and third in 2024 power ranking, and we know Fortnite Track power ranking is everything.
That's basically the global championships leaderboard.
That means second and third. That means that is first. They're the highest duo in power rankings. So they're first place.
Is there any investments you've been making, Reese? Anyone you've had so far? You waiting?
The thing is, it's like I've been on the Swizzy and I've been on the Swizzy, but I keep just talking about them over again. I've been on the hype train for so long that I want to see that happen at globals, in particular after not being able to go to last year's. And
Do we have an update on Vanya and his visa situation?
Still not confirmed if he's able to go yet. So that's not great.
That's not good.
that is why I've heard.
That's what's.
So I spoke to them. I spoke to them at EWC when we were in Saudi. I spoke to both of them, and what it was that they both got rejected, I think, for visas in Serbia.
Yeah.
And then Swizzy had one in another country. I forgot where it was, maybe like Latvia or some shit. He tried to get one in another country, but Vanya went to do his in a different country. So they didn't both. The second time they both tried to apply for visas, they didn't apply in the same country. And Swizzy got his like the day after.
I think it was
EWC
Poland
wrapped up.
because I now have seen Vanya's there now.
Yeah. So
I think he's trying Poland, again. So I'm always invested in them, quite frankly, because they are insane. For guys like Vico and Flixie, obviously won this season. Be interesting to see how they do if they don't get forecast as much. Obviously, it was a big part of their strategy last time. I think they'll do absolutely fine, but I just think that would be interesting to see. It's weird. I don't even have like a logical reason of why I'm not fully on the hype train of them yet in terms of like, I think they're gonna kill it at globals and win. I think they're like almost guaranteed top 10, but like I don't know why I'm still not 100% convinced on these guys could win and come first. I'm trying to think of anyone else there. I'm just having a look through.
Let's have some fun with our investing here. You gotta go low. And really bank on someone to make you some money.
You're right.
Like who is the low stock? Who is the penny stock that's going to turn you into a millionaire?
Who's going to turn me into a millionaire? I mean, Jesus, if we were going to say who's going to turn me into... You know what? I'll tell you what, whose stocks are an all-time low would potentially be True Lex and Cheat Shows at this minute. Let's be real. Like, one of the ropiest years for them overall.
Buy the dip.
Yeah, buying the dip.
You got to buy the Tulip and Cheat Show dip.
Absolutely. This is something where I could see them, like, I'm scared for them because this is a risky investment where you go, they have been a bit questionable all year. It's good meta for them, though. Well, not really. It's a fight meta. So
you're investing in GameStop right now. That's what you're doing. You're investing in GameStop. If enough people buy into the hype, they'll do well. This
could be 2008 Bitcoin. Thank you very much. This could go crazy if they come a top 2 again or top 3. So I feel like they are one of the teams that obviously it's weird because if you know and you follow them, you like. I don't think anyone would be shocked again if they did well. But it's scary how hit or miss they have been this year generally.
Yeah.
Also, I want to do a little side tangent here. When I opened the map for the first time, do you know what the first thing I tried to do was?
Oh, did we lose Resub? Oh, his internet.
We'll never know. We'll never know.
We will never know.
You'll never know.
He's back.
Now we will
never know. Well, it looks like my internet is not fixed, even though I called my ISP earlier. Good to know. But the first thing I did when I opened the map was I asked myself, I wonder where Tayson's landing. And then I was like, oh, he didn't qual. I'm so sad now.
Pain.
I was actually so sad. I was like, oh man, it was the instinctive of like where the big names going. Yeah. And I forgot because I'd forgotten.
Well, you know, you've segued us perfectly onto the next topic.
Well, hold on. Who are you investing in?
Who am I
investing we haven't heard any
our investments.
Okay. Oh no, he said it seems to be a Nathan. He said it's coming over.
No, I'm investing in them, but I got some other investments, of course.
Yeah. You
I'm
diversify your portfolio.
Yeah, I'm still building my portfolio. Yeah, guys, this is my final. We will give you the Scrim Stonks updates weekly now before Globals.
Oh, we need to have like we all get like a budget of like a certain amount of money, get the price for each team, and then we'll invest in it.
That's a good idea.
Unreal.
Let's get that going for Globals.
Yeah.
If only we actually put that much effort into this podcast.
We can. We can for once. It's Globals. We can do it. You know.
We should.
Reese up to YouTube. He'll cook this up or something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Reese makes an Excel and it makes it all easier.
Yeah.
That is actually easy.
So a couple things I've been looking at so far. Very early on, I had some stocks on the one and only Cal Gamer. I've been investing.
Ooh.
Because Cal Gamer, the aura is just too high. And, you know, we got news today that the team that he's actually contesting mid-map, one of them can't even make it to Globals anymore.
The aura was too much.
So my Cal Gamer stocks are rising right now. Like,
you're already making money. You might be able to sell and buy two different stocks in lower level players.
No, honestly, I'm thinking about selling my Cal Gamer stocks because that means they're going to get like a fill player. He's going to get like a god tier NA fill player.
Oh yeah, he's going to get like ages.
He's contested by some like... OCE team, so it's going to be better.
So I might be selling my Car Gamer stocks early just to make a profit right now. Other than Cal Gamer though, some stocks to invest in, Dukes and Sphinx as well.
Hold on,
Janice just left.
Before we're moving here, you're investing your stocks in a Middle East team.
I'm trying to become a millionaire, bro. You got to buy low.
Yeah, that is
the gamble.
Pretty much the biggest gamble you could make.
Yeah, you got to buy.
Have you heard of Dogecoin? This is the new Dogecoin.
That is my version of Dogecoin.
Middle East team has not. Is it still not come over the bottom 10 on any LAN yet outside of EWC where it was 0 build?
Until today.
So this is a bold investment.
If that ever changes. Some more low stocks to invest in. I was thinking of maybe taking a punt on Andilex and Sato, but Acorn and Cold are just too good off spawn to where I'm like, I don't know if that's worth the punt.
This is our weekly cold glaze from 11-2K.
I didn't even say anything. It sounds like you're cold glazing right now. That's what it sounds like to me.
No, I'm in there. Has Anderlecht loaded the game since Grants? Since the Grants he came 5th? That is the question.
That is the ultimate question. Some really good stocks to buy right now, I think, if you're looking to invest, guys, in the global championship market. Any of these guys that land at those POIs where they're uncon, so like Ping and Wox at Underworld, Batman Booga and Rapid at Grim, Dukes and Sphinx now at Brawlers, these are stocks to invest. Clicks and Venom, of course, but I think their stocks are quite high. Like, you're not making much of a profit on that right now.
You'll make your 5%.
Yeah, you're not making much on them right now. But those guys, good investments there. Very good investments there. But I'm still developing my portfolio. We'll give you another update next week as we get more information from the scrims. But scrims have been fun to watch so far. Very, very fun to watch. Talking more about global championships and some more updates, we sort of already alluded to it. We've had some players, unfortunately, drop out or who are just not able to make it. So some fill players have been, put into place. Cheeps, who was qualified for the global championships in EU, playing with Turtle. Unfortunately, Turtle is not going to be playing at the global championships. He's not going to be there. I don't know what's going on with Turtle. Apparently, he's just not responded to any messages in the past 3 weeks or something. So I hope he's okay for one, because who knows? You never know these types of things. But yeah, he's just not replied. So a fill player has been put in place. The story behind it, though, is interesting. So Iyomzo will now be playing at the Global Championship. So shout out to Iyomzo. I'm sure he will be on top of the moon to have a chance to play with how his year's gone. But it was supposed to be Tayson. And for the people wondering, and it's funny you mentioned, Reese, about looking at the map and looking for Tayson. He should have been on this map because Tayson was selected as a backup player here. I'm spilling some beans. I think people already know this, but I'm spilling some beans for the people who don't know. Tayson was he was asked to be a backup player. He was given the option to be a backup player. And essentially, from my understanding, my sources are telling me that Tayson decided, well, I don't want to be a backup player and fly out to Dallas if there's no guarantee I'm going to actually play. So Tayson, I think, tried to get assurances that he would 100% be playing. And naturally, the powers that be said, well, there's no assurances because nobody's dropped. Like, we can't force someone to drop out. We don't know if anyone's dropping out yet. And so Tayson was like, yeah, well, I don't want to be a backup player then. And like instantly after he basically said, I don't want to be a backup player, like the next day, Cheeps was like, hey, I need a backup player because Turtle can't make it.
Oh, no.
And Cheeps wanted to play with Tayson. Like, I'm pretty sure like he said, or at least it was said, hey, like if there's Tayson as a backup, I will choose Tayson. And Tayson was no longer available as a backup. So that is why Tayson is not at the Global Championships. Well, that's one of the other reasons why Tayson is not at the Global Championships, unfortunately. And now there's even more back. Like, again, naturally, I don't want to flame. I don't know what was going through Tayson's headspace with that one, but like, there was always gonna be some problem where like someone needed to like back out. And if you're
literally
Tayson,
always, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there was always gonna be someone who probably needs to drop out. And if you're Tayson, you're the first pick for most people. Like, almost everyone that needs a backup is picking you as their first pick. It's a bit of a stinker there. But Cheeps is now playing with Iyomzo. So, yeah, shout out to Iyomzo and Cheeps. They're landing at Doomstat, I think. In the top
basically,
right.
he just decided to take Tayson's teammate, so...
yeah.
Well, can't get the real thing,
no.
so...
They're landing at Castle Doom.
Castle Doom, yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yes. I mean, it's an interesting one because I think with the... even with like the minor regions, right? Is it like, do you want to get... Because most of the options, right, for the Phil players, they're fraggers. They're not the IGLs. Even like someone like Iyomzo, who is smart enough to be able to IGL, he isn't known as the IGL of the duo, right?
Right.
When you're a worse or a minor region player, for example, the Middle East player, I think it's Pixo, who needs to get a new player, a new teammate. Do you just play with one of the fraggers, for example, like I think Aegis is an option, I think Mixon's an option, or do you get maybe someone who's slightly worse in theory, but is like going to be able to IGL better, someone like Quanti, right?
Or like Rise. Rise is available.
Yeah,
Rise would be a
like
great choice for Nigeria.
Rise would be an amazing choice. And it's like, it's a very interesting thing because it's like some of the better players might be fraggers, but it's like, I feel like if you're a worse region, it'll be better just to get one of the IGLs.
I think if you're like a small region player, let's be real here, you just need the biggest star power player possible. You need someone who's just going to get you some points. Full stop. Like, if you're a small region player and you're getting a fill, you know, the chance of you, if you get an IGL, sure, you might be able to be, you know, intelligent enough to do something, but like, what is the chance you're going to be good enough to fight through some of the best teams from some of the bigger regions if you need be? You know, I've not seen almost any proof of any small region team dominating a bigger region team ever in a fight. So like, I don't know. I would just literally just pick the biggest star power player that's available. Like Iyomzo is probably a good example of that, and just run with it. You know, that's going to be your biggest chance.
I think Iyomzo is the best choice. You get a coach on top of it. It's not just you get to work with Bloodex and learn so much from it. It's like you get a lot of benefits from picking Iyomzo. And I think when Cheap said like, oh, he picked Iyomzo, everyone's like, oh my god, why? Like anyone from EU who doesn't watch him was like, why pick Iyomzo? But if you know about Iyomzo, you know why he's picked Iyomzo. Right. Iyomzo is an unbelievable player who been top 10 every single Grands for the past, I think it was 2 years, until the beginning of 2022, until a certain someone went to NA and we don't talk about it.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. But like, if that's the consistency he has, and you get to pick him up as a player, you're giving yourself a great chance when it comes to Global Championship.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, right? Because you obviously mentioned Pixo, right? Pixo, as of the time we're recording this, Pixo announced that his duo Milo isn't going to be able to play. So Pixo's looking for a backup player to play with. Some of the options, so we actually have a list, because I'm sure people are like, 11, who are the backup players, right? Tayson was one, Iyomzo was one, like who are some of the others? a list of the ones that we know about at least right now. Ages, Curly, Yapko, Quanti, Visuals, Braids, Rays, Mixon, and Rise are players who we know are backups. If you are Pixel, which one of those are you picking?
Agers, probably. I think.
I've heard Rise isn't an option. That's why I didn't say Rise.
No, Rise said himself said he was an option in the comments.
Okay,
yeah.
That's good. Okay,
it wasn't on the list, but then he said in the comments he was. So
okay, so I'd pick Rise. I'd pick Rise. I think we're going at a different points race. I think both are fine, right? You want someone who's going to get you the kills. As a lower region player, I want someone who's actually going to be able to understand the game at the best level. Both are fine. I would go with just Rise. He's the best IGL there.
Yeah, it's one of the two, I think. Yeah. Quite frankly.
It's interesting, right? Because obviously Pixel's going to be contested, right? He's currently contesting 7-man in Cal Gamer. And who knows, depending on who he picks up, like you might pick up a Rise and Rise goes, actually, we should land here and blah, blah, blah.
Rise and Aegis both landed there last FNCS.
Yeah.
But, right? But in the case of like this situation, Rise and Aegis have experience landing there. If you're Pixel, do you also maybe factor in like who has the best experience being contested? Do you want to maybe pick someone like, you look at their records and go, oh, actually, maybe Rise has struggled being conned in the past.
Don't pick Mixon.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So basically, Mixon was off the cards for that one, yeah, for sure. So Mixon was definitely off the cards. But yeah, like with some of those options for backup players, like it might get interesting based off of who's available and what we might see happen. Hopefully, we don't have any more backups because I want to see everyone there.
Ignoring the backups part of this for a second, assuming that the full teams had gone here. The Middle East region is known for a lot of teaming. There's like a lot of big groups, friend groups who are, it's almost impossible to win without teaming in the Middle East, basically. Mm-hmm. We have two Middle East teams contesting each other here. Obviously, that one was Cal and 7Gamer, and the other one's Milo and Pick, so obviously now Milo can't go. Now, I'm not putting out any accusations. I would never do that, possibly. But do you think these guys are teaming like fuck, or what?
I think that that they were taking that like whole mid map area. I think that was, as you said, I think I was just getting split in two, and I think that maybe Alex and Worthy already knew that. Obviously now they're getting contested. We'll talk about that in a minute. But they had from Restored Rails changed from taking the gas station to taking the triple cacti south. So I think already it was going to get split in two. Now what they do when they split it in two, that's down to them to know, and fortunately for them, I think the calls might be a little bit more monitored than in a Middle East Grand Finals. But,
of course,
yeah,
but
very much so.
It's just interesting to see two of the 4 teams just land in the same spot as each other. I'm like,
you talk about that. It's like
look at Brazil,
the Brazilian teams,
Mount Olympus, mate.
True.
They just both never landed Mount Olympus before, but just both want to contest each other. It's just how it is.
When you look deeper and deeper across the map, you'll notice some patterns, is all I'm saying. Yeah. But we'll get into it after. You know what's funny? I actually had BloodX say he really wants to come on the podcast and talk about a collusion problem we have in Fortnite. So maybe we'll see that happen.
Post every team.
Post globals is when he said he wants to do it. So
all I'm saying is there's a couple of German teams in Castle Doom, and I think BloodX is coaching one of them. So
we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. Yeah. Well, I'm very excited as we ramp up towards globals again. Like Harry so kindly highlighted for us many a times this show, we only got 2 weeks, right? So the next couple of pods will be very.
I'm ready. I'm
sorry. The next couple of pods.
Imagine they had more time to prep with their new.
Imagine we had more weeks of podcasts. That'd be crazy.
That's what I was thinking. Imagine more content.
I know.
Yeah, we don't have many weeks, so I think the plan next week, I want us to maybe do like a global power ranking, and then the week of globals, we'll do a bracket of all the teams in globals, 50 duo bracket. Where we decide who will win the global championships 2024, which should be a lot of fun.
Cal Gamer number 1.
Cal Gamer is making it
Infinite
all
surge.
The way to first round. Let us know if there's anything else you want us to cover or to talk about as we head into the next couple of weeks of globals. But for the most part, I think we covered most of the most new season and early global ramblings. So I'm happy with the set, man. I've had some fun. It's been good. Proud of myself.
True. You should be.
Job.
You should be really proud, Levin.
Yeah.
All of us.
I was going to make a joke, but I just couldn't be asked.
Just good job. Just good job, Levin. You've done really well.
Yeah, I'll be nice for once. Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
I'm not speaking to Harry, so I might as well be nice.
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk anymore. I'll beat you both up. Reese's like, what, 5'1" or something? Like, I'll stand over him.
Reese has been going gym for 20 years. I don't know if you want to smoke with him.
14,
I'll step over him. It's fine.
Well, look, Reese have already told us he's got a video coming out this week, so be sure to look out for that, where he ranks all of the items this season. Coach Harry has been streaming daily again. I know, I forgot he could even do that, right? He's been streaming.
I know.
Some of the best content we are getting out there in terms of getting ready for globals, isn't it, Harry?
100%.
Yeah, of course. I can sell it better than you did. Like, it is just watching all the globals teams trying to figure out how they're playing, what the meta is. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and with the new season, there's just so much content, new sort of exploits, tricks, whatever being added every single day. The global map being changed every single day. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and long may it continue.
Long may it continue.
For 2 weeks.
There we go.
For 2 weeks, yeah. I got to start doing my global prep now as well. Should be fun. Should be a lot of fun.
Just watch Harry's streams and take all the notes, and then don't do anything yourself. That's it.
I just talk to chat too much though, so
no comment.
It's a long prep.
Yeah, there's not much analysis in Harry's streams actually. So,
mute it and watch the gameplay then, and you can.
Might be something. Stop asking me when Hotline FN's coming back. I don't know. Thank you guys for watching this episode of the FNtasia podcast. It's been a fun one. We will see you next week for episode 20. Wow, 20 episodes of podcast. Should be good. Peace out. Love you all. Thank you for the support, and we will see you all on the next one.
Bye-bye.